Welcome back to the neighborhood, boys and girls. Our next guest is Kevin Ciccone from Keller Williams. Kev, welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you.
So we normally start off with a little history question. So I've known you for a little bit. We've done some business, but tell everybody out there kind of about Kevin Ciccone before the before the real estate industry and how you got into this crazy business.
I started actually right out of high school. We were going to Drexel during the day and real estate school at night.
Okay.
I met my girlfriend, my wife now, in high school, and we started dating, and she got a job at the local RE/MAX office. We graduate, we start going to Drexel, these guys leave, start their own office. They want to put her through real estate school, and they turn to me and say, like, listen, if you want to go get your license, I got to go anyway, but you're going to have to pay for yourself. At the time I was DJing, a lot, actually. And that's where it started. I was 19 when I got licensed. I was 20 when I really hit the ground, and I did really well, really young.
Yeah.
It was a great business, but back then, it was 2002. It was a
Right.
different.
That was like 3 real estate lifetimes ago. You know,
yeah.
When you go through the timeline, that was like 4 different markets ago for how it was.
And in your business, like, you know, we make the joke, but you know that you did a loan for someone who was dead.
Sure.
You know that because there was no verification of anything.
Yes.
I
don't know about dead, but I definitely did a loan for people where I told them, I was like, you don't want to take this loan. You know what I mean? Like, we're doing a no verification loan. You're literally saying that you're a cashier at Pep Boys and you make $87,000 a year with a $50,000 a year side business. You really don't want to do this because you're gonna, and they're like, no, we're good, we got it.
Yeah, the interest onlys and the arms and the balloons,
cozies and all that
yeah.
crazy.
That was really the beginning of the end, and I was young, and you know, when you do really young and you're immature, you know, I fizzed out real quick, and then tried to revive myself, and you know, kind of fizzed out again, and ended up in the real world, quote unquote, in corporate.
Okay.
I worked for Avalon Flooring as
Okay.
a salesperson. Worked my way up through management. I was there for almost a decade, which is scary. And 2014 came along, and I just got tired of it. It's like out of a movie where you just are like, you know what, I quit.
Who's coming with me?
Literally, that's what it was, and I was the only one that walked out.
Okay.
I took my resignation, and that was that. And you know, when you're out for that long, literally you start all over again.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So that's what it was, and that's how we got here.
Nice.
You know.
Nice. And do you have like, this is my normal buyer, or this is my normal client, or are you kind of, I got a little bit over here, a little bit over there. Like, are you an investor guy, or a first-time buyer guy, or a second home guy, or a step-up guy?
No, see, I mean, I kind of think that, especially starting out, you got to be everything, because you don't know where your business is going to come from.
Okay.
You just got to grab it as it comes, which is where I'm a big advocate of, like, knowing more than the average, because if I know what to do with it, I can take it and close
Sure.
it. First-time home buyers obviously was my thing, still is. I still am 50-50 buyer to seller,
Okay.
which is rare, but I love buyers. I love the satisfaction. I think the referrals are probably 5-to-1, 6-to-1 that I get from my buyers versus my sellers.
Sure.
I think that interaction builds longer-term relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that that's anti what most people preach, but you know me long enough to know I'm very anti what people preach.
Right, for
I
sure.
do my own thing.
Yeah. I always thought that, like, buyers are more appreciative than sellers are.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
especially, I mean, listen, in this market, most sellers think, a monkey could have sold my house. It's really not that big a deal.
And they're not lying
right.
either. I mean, let's face facts.
Yeah, but a buyer's like, oh my God, you took me to 77 houses and
Yeah.
we lost 27 bids and you stayed with me and blah, blah, blah. So
Yeah, it's
they are more likely to refer you because...
you also spend more time with them.
Mhm.
When I have a listing, I go in, I do my listing presentation, I set up all my stuff, and then we talk a few times,
Right.
and that's it.
Let's go over your offers.
Yeah, really, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me bring in the offers. The buyers, you get that interaction, you get to know more about the family and the kids and the aunt and the uncle and all that kind of stuff, and then you get invited to housewarming parties, and it's a longer process, but it's become very rewarding, and you know, that's where my business comes from.
Sure,
Just referral.
Now, in your career, do you have like one client buyer that's been like your favorite? Like when you think about it, that's like, oh, this was my favorite one, or this was my heartwarming story that I had, you know?
I had, there's two that stand out. One was the heartwarming one where she had an abusive husband, and I used to have to pick her up in a wig and a costume in the middle of a Walmart parking lot.
Oh.
Because the husband was a police officer in that town.
Okay.
That was rewarding because she was getting out of something
Getting
where
away from
it
him.
wasn't her fault, and
Okay.
she, you know, and of course, like there's a little bit of a fear factor in you.
Sure,
the person
sure,
picking
man.
up said woman.
Don't want to make a crazy policeman with a gun angry, of course, number one.
But like that was one of those things that you're happy when it's done, and you
Sure.
see the relief in her eyes.
Right, right, right.
And then, you know, like my second client ever, I moved her out of Camden, and she was so thankful, and this was 2002.
Right.
I just activated my license in 2014. I didn't get back into 2015. My phone rings, and I look down, and I see her name pop up on my caller ID. And I answer it, and, you know, what's up, Kevin? How's it going? Blah, blah, blah. You still doing that real estate stuff? I said, funny enough, I just got back in.
Now that you mention
My nephew's looking for a house. And it just started from that call to the relationship with her nephew, and he's probably referred me 25 deals.
Nice.
It's spidered. I mean, it's so funny how sometimes like the universe does something like that where you're like, oh, that's why I'm here.
Yeah. And it's always like you never know who the person that you help is going to be the one that spiders or that gets you to that next level. You might help 4 or 5 people, you're thinking somebody, you meet somebody, you're like, that's going to be the one. Nah, that's not the one. It's the real inconspicuous one where it's like, poof, they open the door and there you go.
And some of my biggest deals have come from some of my smallest.
Sure, sure.
You know, that's the thing where now I'm on the second generation, so, you know, statistics are every 7 years.
Right.
They bought in 2015, 2016, we're at year 7, so I sold them their first house, now I'm selling them the step up.
Right.
And then you saw them step up, and that carries, and it
Yeah.
multiplies. And if you do it right.
Yeah, if you're good at your job.
If you're good at your job.
Right.
And you know, that's the whole kind of the concept. And same thing with your field.
Sure.
You know, that is the same thing where it's everybody needs one.
Right.
Let's
right.
be that person at
Well,
a phone call.
Like you said, you don't know nowadays. Half the people got cash. They don't even need a mortgage anymore. You know?
Where it comes from, I have
know
no
where it is.
idea.
I think somewhere there's like a counterfeiter that's got some, you know, ATM machine that's just ringing out cash.
It has to be because 3 years ago everybody was broke. 4 years ago everybody was broke. They didn't
Yeah.
have any cash. We were doing state programs, grants, loans, and all of a sudden everybody.
Anybody got any 100 LTV? You don't even have 3.5% to put down. You got 100 LTV.
Yeah.
You know. Now like, we're gonna buy it for 200. We'll put down 185. We want a $15,000 mortgage.
I don't know where it comes from, but it's out there.
It's crazy.
You know, things are adjusting. I
Yeah.
mean, we see that. You know,
Yeah.
you guys see it on your side. I see it on my side. Not that we've slowed down. It's just different.
It's just different. We have a bunch of people here. We have like 17 loan officers, but most of them are 1 year, 2 years in the
You have
business.
17?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
It's impressive.
yeah,
Yes.
it's a nice little operation.
Yeah.
We got a great crew, but they've never been through this. So when I'm talking to them, we do our Monday morning sales meetings. When I'm talking to them, I can see the terror in their eyes. Like, oh my God, my phone used to be ringing off the hook and now it's not. And I'm thinking to myself, man, this is nothing. You don't remember when it was, you know, this or that, or companies going out of business literally like the day of closing, and you're getting wires called back, and you know all that stuff. So you know, it's an interesting business. It's a wild roller coaster.
It is, and those people that did it the right way, business will go back to where it was. And I think that a lot of us in general in this field have become blinded by what the last 2 and 3 years were.
Sure.
You become jaded because if you came into the business during that time frame, that's what you think it always is.
Sure. Sure.
You know, when I teach, you know, their impression is that they can just come in and make $100 grand. arbitrarily, easy money, and all of a sudden after 90 days and no money, they go, oh, this is not easy.
Right.
And now they come into this market where people are, finding it even harder. So it's just, it's different, and we all have to adjust to that.
Sure.
And those that don't adjust are going to get swept away,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
of course.
But it's what happens.
It's a cycle.
It's a shift.
Yeah.
It's a shift, and this is the fastest shift that I can ever remember. I mean, you've done it longer than me, I think.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, in the
About
business.
the same time. 2001, 2002. Yeah.
But I've never seen it change this fast.
Super quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was nuts.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the teaching part of it, because you said you're kind of coaching, you're doing the teaching stuff. Talk a little bit about that.
So, we were approached from Keller to take over this productivity coaching program.
Okay.
And I came into the business, built a quick team, and then kind of regretted a little bit, like, you know what? I'd rather work on me and build this the right way than having my energy go everywhere else and work harder than everywhere else. So the teaching thing, I've always enjoyed it. I try to learn a lot of things, from mortgages to home inspections, that I just want to be that guy.
Right.
So we have a school out of Keller Williams. Once you're licensed, it's a lot of mostly newer agents, and we have 63 students. I do live classes. We have an interactive platform online. We do daily group coaching sessions online. So it's pretty intense.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool when you see people selling that wouldn't have.
Yeah.
We just eclipsed $20 million in the first year of the program.
That's awesome.
In sales, just out of that. So yeah, it's really cool. That's cool.
It's awesome. I know for me in teaching and mentoring, when you see that person that gets it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you see the quarter drop and the fires in their eyes, and then they're starting to actually practically apply the tools that you gave them, and then they start to kick a little ass.
Yes.
Then you're like, all right, there we go. Now
Yeah.
we're on.
And you might do that to 10 people, and one of them gets it, but that one is enough to fuel you to go, okay, where's my next one?
Right.
Right. Yeah, it's very cool, and it's one of those things that it's gratifying on multiple levels. It's not just the financial thing, but
Sure.
it's just a psyche thing, an aura thing, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I've had a conversation with like 4 or 5 different people about this specific topic. One of the things I notice is you can teach sales. I can teach sales. I can't teach work ethic. You can find somebody who learns every single thing in the book and every single definition and knows how to do it and this, but then when you look at them, you're like, okay, now's when you got to grind. There's always got to be some degree of grind to everyone, and that's what I found been the hardest thing to push on to people. It's not the knowledge.
So, and I say I can't teach sales because sales is either in you or it's not, personality wise. Work ethic is a whole different topic because you're 100% right. It's you either got it or you don't. Very rarely do people magically kick a work ethic 1 out of 35. Now, sometimes out of desperation,
Right.
they
Yeah,
do.
sure.
I think some of the best results in my personal life have come from some of the hardest times in my life, right?
For sure.
Because you use that as your springboard, but that's not the general consensus.
Right.
The technical stuff is where, I thrive, and I try to teach that, because if you know the nuts and bolts, and you get a buyer, you get a seller, and it's a difficult situation, at least you know how to put the puzzle pieces together. The work ethic, I can't tell you. People just expect to wake up at 10 o'clock and get 10 messages, and for the last couple of years, guess what? That's how it's been.
Kinda, yeah.
That's the scary part, is that the people that have become used to that, all of a sudden, I'm hearing crickets, because
Right.
that stopped.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's talk about future, Kevin. Let's go June of 2024. Where is Kevin Ciccone? Give me a couple of bullet points or goals that you're going to hit between now and then.
I'd like 100 people in our program. I'd like to expand it to a couple market centers. I think that the way we designed it, it has room to
Scalable.
scale.
Okay.
I get the real estate sales numbers. I think if I can maintain or grow a little bit, I'm okay with that. I'm not looking to to do 100 million myself.
Right.
I can do, you know, half of that, you know, with one person and be completely fine. You know, so maybe 40 million in sales between me and one other person or two
Right.
other people. And this, you know, platform I think is where I want to push.
Nice.
And that's 2 years. Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to be riding consistent here for a couple of years.
I agree. I'm not a chicken little sky is falling kind of person.
No, it's not. And if you know statistics and you read and you follow trends, you know that it's not sky's falling.
No.
You know we're exactly where we should be.
Right.
No one thought that the world was going to shut down for 2 years. That wasn't on anybody's bingo card.
Right.
But yet here we are. When you look at where the lines should be, we're exactly where we should be.
Right.
It's kind of crazy actually.
Yeah, for sure.
That we were so far up to come so far down to come right where we should be.
Yeah, we did. The COVID and the reaction to COVID was like the 4-year correction, but it just happened in like 120 days.
It pressed the fast forward button. I just discovered Instacart the other day.
Yeah.
It is life changing. I get like Wegmans to my door in an hour, and if I need it quickly, it's $2 more.
Right.
And I don't have to drive there, wait in line, fight people over lettuce heads. Like nothing. It's all just there. It's amazing. But things like that have really blossomed, and COVID pressed the fast forward button on the inevitable. Just condense it, like you said.
If you would have told people that you are not going to be able to go into the office and you're going to have to maintain your job and your production the way it is, 80% of the country would have been like, no way, there's no way we can do that. But when you were forced to do it, guess what? Everybody learned how to do it. And now you see all the shifts and the changes from that, where places like New York City, where you had to live in New York City to have a job in New York City, now they're scattering out there because they don't want to pay $4 million for properties. They're going all over. And so many opportunities are going to come from that
segment.
Yeah.
And I already see it. I mean, I've had several deals where they're either moving down here where they don't have to commute at all, or they're moving to the North Jersey region, and then their Jersey region is getting outpriced and they're coming down here.
Sure.
But that we've seen that for a while, and you're right, COVID made people think about things differently. Swimming pools.
Yeah.
Swimming pools is always like the biggest investment that you made in your house that you got no money for. And now people are making dollar for dollar back what that pool was because of what it is.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
all, you know?
Awesome. All right, and then we got one last one. Sports or music?
Oh boy. Sports.
Sports, okay. So you wake up tomorrow and you can go to any sporting event in the past, and you can bring one person with you to witness the event.
Oh,
What sporting event would you go to?
Can I pick music? Probably the Eagles winning the World Series, because we went to the parade.
Okay.
There was no way I couldn't go to that.
Okay.
You know,
2017,
yeah.
going to Minnesota. Okay.
I think that's probably the one thing that if I could, because I would appreciate it. If I was 18, would I appreciate something that big?
Right.
No, I wouldn't.
Right.
But that's probably the one thing.
Okay. And who would you bring?
My wife.
Your wife?
Nicole is a die-hard football fan.
Okay.
She calls plays and knows things that, like, I look at her and go, wow, how did you know that? She has her own fantasy team. She does her own trades.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
She's deep.
Right. Awesome. Cool. Awesome. Great. Kev, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Awesome. We'll be right back with the next guest.